Good evening, Courtney. It's so good to see you again. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you. Been looking forward to meeting again.
Oh, great. I'm happy to hear that. But before we dive into our work today, I just want to make sure you're good because like last time, you had to state your address. So if you can do that one more time, just state your current address and we'll get started.
Yes, it's 321 Turtle Creek Drive, Pearland, Texas 77584.
Perfect. Thank you so much because we want to make I want to make sure that you're safe. That's always just a safety measure since we are meeting virtually. So let's get started. How have you been since the last time we met? I know the last time we spoke, we talked about your heart on wanting to strengthen those surface level relationships with your children and just kind of wanted to be more intimate with them. I know we talked about um, your your struggle with sleeping at night and how work was a distraction for things happening at home. So I kind of just want to check in with all of that. Where have you been?
Yeah, so sleep is sleep has been good this week, right?
Okay.
So that's always a great thing because a couple nights sleep can feel like a couple months sleep when you are not getting it.
Right.
Yeah. So I can say now it's been good this week. Um, as far as the relationships with my children, I feel like they're moving,
Mhm.
um, growing, um, and even though I feel like of late, and not a long time, it feels like my son is pulling back some, and he's an introvert, and it may not even be necessarily towards me, but a lot of times it could be what he's going through. Um,
Mm,
but that's the thing, like you don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So then, then sometime I will start having negative feelings like you should know. You shouldn't have to guess and all that. Maybe if your relationship was better, you wouldn't. You'll be able
mhm.
to identify these things and all that. So, yeah, I feel like he's pulling back. Um, and then that's when it puts me back on still trying to figure out, well, then how do I tiptoe through that without it being too much? Or, because if it's too much, then it can pull back even more. And then I feel like
Yeah.
the progress we have made, like you just starting all the way over again. So it's
Mm.
dealing with that. But other than that, like things have been, I feel like I'm still doing a lot of examining myself to see the areas that I can grow in, and using that in all my relationships. But really, with dealing with these adult people now that that I help bring into this world. So
What a shift.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for sharing that. That sounds challenging, whereas sometimes it seems like you're taking 5 steps forward and 10 steps back. And,
Hmm.
it just kind of makes me remember what we discussed last time when we sat with the weight of how challenging those dynamics with your children feel. And it kind of sounds like, again, that tension between wanting to confront the situation where it's like you notice that he's pulling back, but also kind of afraid of not wanting to for something to blow up or like push him
Hmm.
away. And, that do you feel like, based off of last conversation and kind of what you're discussing today, do you think that's still the heaviest thing that you're carrying today?
Yeah, I would say it is because it is my children. It's my son, and he's the oldest, and he's
Mm,
the only he's the only boy, um and then he lives in a whole nother state, right? So that alone makes me feel like I have to even tread lightly because he can just decide not to reach out at all. And like, what do? You can't like get in your car and drive by and just, hey, I
Mm,
want something when they're in a whole nother state. It's like a lot of times they feel like he really controls the relationship because
mhm,
he is far away. If I don't want to deal with it, I don't have to. If I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
mhm.
sometimes I feel like I don't have a lot of control of how things happen. But that's when I have to realize, even in that, if he was right next door, I still only can control my part of it because I'm dealing with an adult, not a kid, you know?
Right.
Um, so I have to um, set internal boundaries for myself to even not put myself in a position or in a way that where my feelings can be hurt or um, by doing too much and not doing enough, you know? So yeah, that's I forgot what you asked me. I don't even
No,
know.
that was really well. I was asking, the question that I asked was, is this still the heaviest thing that you're carrying? And it
Mhm.
sounds that way, it's like I hear this longing of just it's like wanting to open a door that feels heavy or stuck. It's
Mhm.
like, and then with him being introverted, it's like it's woven into his personality, and the distance makes it that much more heavy because you can't just like tangibly
Yeah.
reach out, or like, it's not a hop skipping away,
Mhm.
it's measures. um it requires a adjustment in waiting, but you notice that, when you try to push it open by confronting him. I know the last time we discussed, sometimes it went well, sometimes it did not go as expected. So if we were to set a goal that respects his space but keeps your heart open, like, what would a small win look like this week? Well, we're at the end of the week, but what would it look like for the next week?
Um, a small goal would that I can control. Um, would probably be, and this could be a very like if I can just get to the point to where that's not at the forefront of my mind all the time. Like maybe like I'll say this, like in the evenings when I'm off work and I know he's off, like I automatically think about, or I'll check the location to see where he's, if he's home, and then he's home, then I automatically start thinking, well, like why he can't call him when he's at home, and I start replaying all this in my mind of, and even look like it's what clearly his downtime. He may not be even thinking about me or our relationship, right? So a small goal win for me would be to protect me is maybe stop checking his location as much, right? Then I won't start creating these thoughts in my mind of what's that I don't even know, but that's what's playing in my head. So maybe, I can find something more productive to do in my evenings, so where those times when I may have free time in the evening, I can use that for like going for a walk
Yeah.
or um reading, or something that just pours back into me, and that I can find enjoyment in, and just redirect that energy into something else that's
Yeah.
actually can yield good results for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good because I can see how that could stir up some emotions on the inside of you. So you ultimately want to get to a place of not you almost want to shift your expectations, it sounds
Mhm.
like, and replacing the time that you would check the location with pouring into yourself to eliminate that space for expectation. So it sounds like you kind of just want to pour into you, and that's a powerful boundary. You kind of move it from that force feeding the connection to planting a seed, where, or like really just kind of taking care of yourself and meeting whatever that need is that's
Mhm.
kind of coming up, which is good. And sometimes, like, if your goal is intimacy and you see him pulling back, your goal may not be having this deep conversation that's 30
Mhm.
minutes. It might, and if actually, before I say this, can I offer us a goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Um, it might be like just sending one text this week that requires nothing from you.
Mhm.
That's like just thinking of you, you know, because I know before we talked about that low pressure.
Mhm.
And kind of like sometimes like it just kind of builds a safe foundation. So how does that feel when you hear something like that?
Oh, you know what? I like that because I feel like I'm already like that. Like I don't apply pressure. Um, and I don't apply pressure to him to try to make him feel like, oh, you got to reach out to me every day. Um, and even just, I want to say yesterday, because I have this rule, like with all three of them, like I have to hear from you on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, you could send me a video on TikTok. That's me hearing from you. We don't have to, I feel like I'm low maintenance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But still, I don't know what that make them feel like on the other side, right? So just yesterday, I think that was the first time in I don't know how long I did not hear from him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, I just went with it because I saw he was home, you know, and I didn't even press. I was like, okay, well, when he want to reach out, he'll reach out. And I was, I was okay. I felt away for a little bit, but I was okay with it. And so yeah, I think that's a good thing. It's like that a text that doesn't require anything from him,
Yeah.
will I can do that, you know. Um
Mhm.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That sounds really tough. That's really challenging. But again, I appreciate you for sharing this with me, and I'm really proud of you for basically saying at during those hours when those thoughts would creep in, I'm gonna really pour into myself and take care of whatever need is to be met in that moment, which actually makes me think about your relationship with Christ that you share with me, how that is your firm foundation. So,
Mhm.
like, how does that align with your relationship with God as your constant? And I also want to ask, are you able to trust God with the parts of your son's heart that you can't reach right now?
Absolutely, because that's what helps me too. Because when I think about what I want from him, or when I'm analyzing the parent child dynamic, then I often think about how I respond to God, you know.
Yeah.
And God didn't press himself on us, and I have to remember that too, where who am I to think that I should expect greater from him when
Mhm.
God is that do me like that. So and still loves me through it and will be right there. So I have to God is the perfect parent model for us. So
Yeah.
um that's what helps me actually get through it. So I have to trust God in this situation. One, like I said, the distance. And even if he called and said, he needed me in a right away, I still can't get to him like that. You know,
Mm,
so there has to be a trust in God to fill the gaps, to be the constant, to be the ever present. And yeah, so I absolutely have to, or I would lose it. Like that's what
mhm.
keeps me going because, like I said, I have to constantly remind myself that God is our parenting model, and then I have to think about I'm the child in that relationship, you know,
Yeah.
and God is his God as well, you know. God doesn't have grandkids. That's
That's
that
pretty good.
that's his
I like
son as
that.
well, you know.
Yeah, I like that. God does not have grandkids.
Yeah,
Very
so
good. Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. I feel like this is a very grounded path that you're walking on. And I think that's a good goal. So basically, if we can make it a small, like what I hear is your small, your, can I speak? Your small goal for the small win that you're going to have for the next week is during those times when you would typically check his location when you get off work, when he gets off work, you're going to choose to go for a walk instead.
yes.
I like that. I think this is really good because we aren't necessarily trying to change his behavior, and we're working on the homecoming of your own peace. So we're just gonna start there.
And and I recognize if I am like going for a walk, read a book, whatever that is that I need to do or that I want to do to pour back into me, also that helps me realize the unnecessary weight that I put on him to carry to give me some level of satisfaction, joy, or whatever
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm,
he is not meant to carry. So that still pushes me back to Christ, the
mm,
way I should be searching for what I need in my creator, right? So that I'm putting too much weight on that communication, that whatever. You know what I'm saying? The where
yes.
I'm making it heavy in my expectation, like you saying about shifting expectation. That wasn't meant, it's not meant for him to carry, you know?
Mm.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today because we have reached our time. I really look forward to seeing the progress you've made between now and our next session. But otherwise, I hope that you take care of yourself and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
See you
I'll
next time.
bye bye.
Bye bye.